Alright guys, so I know that that this list was supposed to be brought to you yesterday, but I figure I might as well still put it out there. It's a swing trade list, meaning that obviously your entries are key on charts like these, and trying to get into them on a rush is not necessarily the best objective. Trying to get into them with the best managed risks. Those are what you're looking for, right? So APC, I know that I brought this up to you guys a couple days ago, and on the 200 SMA. And so what we're looking at on this chart, let's go back a little bit further out and we can try to see what's going on, okay? So last time this chart came over the 200, it came back and retested it, pushed back over, came back under it, pushed back over, came back and retested it. The last time it retested this 200 SMA here, it had an aggressive move, and we're talking about from like $50 all the way up to 70 something dollars. So if we were to do a fib, let's say, from where the trade's at up at the top to where it's supposed to pull back to down at the bottom, the last time it pinned this bottom low here, you would see that we're coming right into that 50% area. So this entire move here and the pullback is definitely a controlled, measured pullback. So that's why I'm so, I'm so okay with the APC on the long side here, obviously off the 200 SMA. And I like the trade. I feel like there can still be a potential move to the upside on this one. Now all you have to do, for those of you guys that are in it, well, congratulations, you're already in it and you're already green on the chart. Now if you were to break this level here, let's just call it $64.25. If you were to break this level here, this is where you can add into the trade and try to see if you can get it to push right back up to the 50 EMA, where you can start taking off some profits on the chart then. I do feel like this is a good swing trade for those of you guys that are interested in this type of a trade. It is a little bit more expensive. Well, we'll get some of those names that are smaller. PII is another one that I'm interested in for you guys eventually. Okay, so what I'm looking at is, you see the nice little pennant and the possibility for the wedge here, increased volume, upside move. I also did this on my weekly trade ideas, but for you guys I'm going to go into details a little bit more. How about you look a little further out and you'll see a little bit more excitement, being that if the chart was to break out here, we're looking at a $99 type area for the upside potential. So what I'd like you to do is, the chart pushed over, pulled back, and failed to reclaim this zone. Now that it failed to reclaim this zone, let's see if we get one more downside move on it. Puts us into some strengthening area, somewhere right about $87.50, where at least you can manage the trade properly using the uptrend as some sort of a reason to get out. Ultimately, you do know that you still have the 200 SMA here underneath you to hold you for any, failed type move. So anywhere into this range here could give you a long starter, and I know that you don't feel like you want to risk all the way down here, but it's ideally where you would have to risk, but you can still use the uptrend as a decent area to stop out. So that 50 EMA is about like 86, and if you can try to get this entry somewhere about 87 and something, then that's what a swing trade is about, right? The day when you close back over this wedge to the upside, well, that's where you can add into it, and then we'll be looking at that $99 area for an exit. Now, so you're asking me for some smaller ones, and so let's bring up an energy trade, PFIE. Now, obviously, the reason for me looking at this one is just a flat top breakout chart, pushed over on Friday's session, and obviously gapped and continued to the upside today. What I would like for us to be looking at is actually for an entry on this chart somewhere closer to about $1.50, and that would give us the retrace off of the move, and a possibility of a better standing ground for that long position. So I think if you can put an alert in for PFIE at $1.50, and if the chart was to come into that range, well, that's where your swing trade would be set up. So PFIE for a small energy play. HIBB. Now some of these charts are on the weekly trade ideas, but I also felt like there was a bigger potential to some of these names. Maybe I don't go into details as much on the weekly trade ideas. Those are just for everybody out there. But for you guys, I feel like, hey, I wanna be able to show you what I'm seeing, and what I'm seeing on this one, HIBB, is there's a potential for a decent trend reversal. Now we've done some of these trend reversal type trades before. We've done the simple ones like NTAP and FRED. Now we've done simple trend reversal trades like those, and those have paid off to be very well. So here's another setup for a trend reversal trade, and if you put an alert, most of the TOS would have an alert set in for something like this. You put an alert for a chart that breaks over this trend line and closes over it. That's where your trend reversal would come in. Any trend reversal trade here, you would have a defined risk down to the pivot low, and that's where the chart would be. But for right now, obviously it's not break into the upside, and so you have no reason to aggressively jump into it. But do wait for that chart to break over, because if it was to break over and you look at it further down the line, you'll say, oh well, I missed that one. But you shouldn't if you have proper alerts set. ZFGN, another 200 SMA chart that broke over to the top. Now this is a smaller one, and chart's already kind of pulling back to it, so let it come down and retest this area here. I think anywhere that comes down into this low $4 entry area here, by 410 or so, would be an ideal entry for this chart, giving you a minimized risk here at about $3.75 on the long. Now this is a small biotech name, and we know that the chart has a huge gap up in this range to fill. I mean, like biggest upside for right now could be somewhere closer to 550 if the chart was to hang on to this range here. But what you'd need is you'd need the chart to actually pull back and retest the 200 SMA before you did anything with it. For right now, we still have we're trying to take a long into a descending, a lowering moving average. I like to take longs into rising moving averages, but this is one that can prove to, it's been stair stepping here, and we have a huge gap to fill. I think that if it pulls back to the 200 SMA and stays over this 200 SMA, the reward obviously outweighs the risk on this chart. SNGX is another one that's on the list, but well, the chart already started to move on off of the trend breakout today. So this is the trend that the chart's been testing here, here, and here. So being that the chart pushed over on it today, I feel like any pullback into this $2.80 range could provide you with another continuation move to the upside. This chart have flexed its muscles before, and I think that we can probably get it back up here into the fours. So I'm looking at mid to upper fours to the high side on SNGX. BCEI, it's another energy trade, and I kind of like the way that the chart's reacting down to this range here. I feel like there's a potential for the chart to reverse at this range that it's at. What we are getting is we're getting a support area from here, and so you have a pin there, and we're coming right into that area here for a pin. Now the chart on the daily today, for example, would have provided you with it's still considered not, it didn't come from the bottom or anything, so it's not a Pearson pattern, and it's not really an engulfing. It's just kind of an inside candle here. So what I'd like to see is I'd like to see a pullback on this thing, probably closer to about $1.10, where you can at least justify the entry and a stop down to this low pivot here, which is about 95 cents on BCEI. Next one that I'm looking at is HLF. Now, I kind of like how the chart stabbed this area here. And funny thing is, this chart's been on my list from yesterday. And obviously, if you had this chart on the list, you would have been looking at it. What I saw was a huge hammer on the daily here, and that was on Friday's close. And I was interested on that chart mostly because of this. The chart broke over the trend, and retested it and then printed a nice hammer strong candle. I think that HLF has the potential to get back up into this $57 range before it actually sees any kind of resistance. I think it moves straight up into this range, and it could provide a nice quick type of a swing trade, some a 2-3 day type swing trade, even for the day trade as it's presented to you right now. Inverted hammer at the top here. Maybe we try to fill some of this gap in some more and get you your entry for that $57 target on HLF. Twitter, TWTR. Now, I like this chart for where it's at. For what I'm seeing is I'm seeing some consolidation in this range, and I think that the reward outweighs the risk on this name. And so the chart's been quiet for a while. People's been quiet on it. And I think because if you're looking at the last resort trend here, we're seeing that the chart's actually holding this line. Now the wedge to the downside is a quick breakout one if the chart can close over $15.65. And so even at the entry where it is at $15.20, I think it's worthwhile risk here to test the bottom of this $14.92 wick. Try to see if the chart holds here for a reversal area. I know there's a lot of people that's interested in Twitter. It's just that they're trying to figure out where to get it. Well, I think that's a viable spot to at least try it. CLD is another one that's on the list. I feel like the chart's definitely broken down enough, along with some of the other energy name, crude names that we're looking at. I think that there's a potential for this chart to have a reversal into where it's at right now. If we were to do some sort of a fib move from where it started to where it's at right now, you would see that, you know what I mean, like it maybe not a perfection type of a fib pin, but it's not a bad area for where the chart sits right now. I feel like, into this, what would that be equivalent to, about the 61.8%, and with a couple wicks that we're seeing down here, sort of a reversal candles, extremely oversold. I think it's a decent little test with a minimal risk on CLD. Now, if we're testing energy charts, crude charts, all of these charts, we're basically testing for a bottoming area, not necessarily pinning any of these things to the penny or anything, but it's definitely some sort of a test, to try to see if we can capitalize on a move. The entire, effect of the entire thing about swing trading is that you're not going to catch the exact penny. Maybe you will one or two trades in your career. Maybe you'll catch the exact penny or the exact reversal day when that chart does reverse on a dime. Maybe you'll catch a couple of those in your trading career, but for the most part, you're not going to catch the entire exact reversal day. You're probably going to catch it within a couple days or a week, and then the chart's either going to show you that, yes, I want to reverse in this range, or no, I don't want to reverse. Remember, your swing trading is basically you saying, I think this is a good risk reward area, and for whatever reason, it may be a technical reason or a moving average or whatever. So it's basically you saying that, yes, I think this is where the chart should reverse. When the charts start working for you in the direction that you want it to work, find reasons to stay into it rather than trying to exit the position as quickly as possible. On IDTI, what I was looking at a possible double bottom scenario on this chart. Had a nice move on it today. 38 cents up, closed over the 13 EMA. I think a pullback on this one to retest the 13 EMA somewhere right about $24.07 could actually get you into this chart for a possible reversal trend play also. So chart obviously closed over the trend line today, and so we'd be looking for a pullback on this one down to about $24.10 and then a continuation. Ideally, you'd like to see the chart close over the 50 EMA. It's just, you can see how many times it's tried to hold the 50 EMA, and even when it broke, it retested it from the underside. So we know that this 50 EMA serves as a good area of support and or resistance on the name. Yes, and I know that you guys looked at this chart today and we played it today and we spoke about it today. SGYP is another name that's on this list for you guys. As for a swing trade, it's a biotech chart. On its 200 SMA, it's pretty much where we're sitting right now. Let's go back a little further out into the chart, and we'll see that when the chart pushed over, it came back and retested that range. When the chart failed to make a breakout and a hold over this range, it came back and retested it again. Came back and held that similar area. Now we have a nice little uptrend going on. And what's happening with this one is this is a better setup on a rising moving average as far as why you would want to be long on a trade like this. We're done with earnings. That's done with. And so now that the chart's holding this trend, I think that what you're risking down here, you're risking maybe down to $4.98. Maybe you're risking 35 cents on this chart. SGYP, I think, is an ideal setup with a pullback to a rising moving average. That's very important when you're trying to find your swing charts. Rising moving averages. Okay. BLCM is another one that I actually like. It's a small chart. Nice little curl up on this name. Let me try to clean this up. Okay. So what we're looking at on BLCM is the chart actually held this range with a really nice aggressive inverted head and shoulder pattern. If you can see the shoulder here, that would be your head and that would be your other shoulder. So we have an inverted head and shoulder. Today's chart actually pushed up already, which saddens me because this list could have been presented yesterday. Now that the chart closed over the 50 EMA, let's see if it can come back tomorrow and retest maybe about $13.75, where you can find yourself at least a starter position on this chart. The reason why you wouldn't want to take it a little heavier than, say, like SGYP, for example, is because you do have to risk a little bit more on a chart like this. Now, as far as how much I think this something like this can actually go, well, even if we were to do a quick fib just to get some sort of an idea of what the potential of this move can have for us, I think at $13.75, I think we can have range up into at least this congestion zone. So I would put us somewhere closer to about $16.50 for the big upside potential target. CSIQ, I also brought this one up in chat today, and I do like this chart. This chart's got me interested here in the range that it's holding the 50 EMA. The only issue is that we have earnings coming up on the 21st, and so I think this chart actually moves into earnings. We have a nice flag here, and the chart trying to reclaim its 200 SMA. Any break over this trend here at $14, if you have a trend alert type setting, and you can put an alert on this trend here, I think any break over there puts you into a trading potential. Only problem is that we have earnings coming up and the chart kind of seemingly has been bought into it. So let's see if we can get a move on this CSIQ maybe into the next couple days coming up here into earnings, and it could probably provide you with some sort of a potential upside trade. There seems to be a lot of other smaller charts all over the place that have been acting nicely. I've seen a whole bunch of them. RNN and VICL, which is sad. It's so sad. Some of these names that moved today are actually on the list that I have on my list of things to play. Wanted to bring up this ICLD. This is a chart that I found with I found this chart when I was scanning one day off of much bigger moving averages, and it's a technology type chart, and I liked it. And I brought this up to Terry, and I'm sure that he'll verify this if he watches the video. So I brought this up with Terry at 2 cents. And chart closed today almost to 9 pennies, and this was just I don't know, not too long ago actually that I brought it up with him at 2 cents for a long. Now it's not the kind of chart that we are used to trying to play, but if you did from 2 cents to where it is right now, close to almost 9 cents, that's quite an aggressive move to the upside for the relationship of the size of the chart. And so, even when I saw it at 2 cents, it didn't look like much, but it turned out to be something. And so the charts that you're looking at right now may not look like much, but they can turn out to be something. When you're looking at a swing trade, always try to look at the upside potential and minimize the risk to the downside with the size of your entries. So you can't focus on the, hey, well, it's not doing anything right now. Well, it's not going to do anything unless you can see into the future. It's not going to do anything right now. But what it could be is something that, like this. When I saw it at 2 cents, it really wasn't doing anything. But now that it's at 9 cents, I'm sure it's attracting a lot of attention out there. And so it's the same thing like with your simple charts out there, like SGYP or Twitter or whatever you have you. It's not going to be doing anything right now, right this second, but that's what swing trading's all about. It's about trying to see a bigger picture, so trying to see something out further that people are not looking at. It's not looking at, the things that are sitting right in front of you. It's more so trying to progressively see something that's maybe a little further out. So I hope that some of these lists actually could provide some trading possibilities for some of you guys. And I mean, you have price ranges from PII and APC all the way down to SGYP and even smaller names like CLD and BCEI. So you do have quite an assortment of names here and charts to possibly look at, and I do hope that some of them could bring value to you. Obviously, if you take any of these trades, let me know in chat so that way I can try to monitor some of the names with you. All the best, guys.